Confidence is a feeling, and it really depends on how we feel subconsciously, and that then translates in how we speak and we carry ourselves every day. And how do we build that up? Initially, you really build that up through physically being active. If you're active physically, the subconscious will kind of catch up. So really, it's a mind situation. We have to work on our mind first, reality, but it doesn't always happen that way. So we really have to work on the other stuff first, and then the mind kind of catches up, hopefully, so that you can kind of find the middle. So every time you maybe do something for yourself, like do that workout or go for that walk, or you kind of like adding to that subconscious that you can actually do it.
We started on our knees, had no one to light. Then we found our way to church. Yeah, I got our vision set right. You pulled us out the dirt. Now we're walking in our purpose, not just shopping in vain. And calling our Holy Father, staying away from the lies, 'cause you taught us how to apply. We love the way you do it. Yeah, you did it, and you did it. When the road got rough, you pulled us through it. You always do it. Yeah, you did it. Yeah, we love the way you do it. Yeah. Walk a little different by avenue. Let's get into it.
Welcome back to Different by Avenue. Today, we're looking directly into the mirror.
So we aren't doing this alone, though. We have our friend Luisa in the building. She is a powerhouse fitness coach and founder of Surrender Fitness, and she's here to help us navigate the confidence avenue. So let's pray before we get started. Lord, thank you for making us fearfully and wonderfully. We ask that you would silence the critics in our heads today. Help us reject the lies the mirror tries to tell us, and help us embrace the beauty of who we are in this specific season. Amen.
Amen.
I'm Bree, and I'm a woman that's still just trying to learn how to love me. I realized recently that waiting to reach a certain weight before I allowed myself to just truly just be happy with where I am, it's a little soul-sucking at times.
My name is Dee, and I am still navigating that shift from post-baby body to aging with grace and trying to figure out just how to be healthy without just becoming an obsession. Luisa, we brought you here because we know your mission at Surrender Fitness is just so different from what is the typical, heavy air quotes, gym culture. So how do we find the confidence that isn't tied to a number that's on the scale?
Hi, guys. I'm so happy to be here. You guys are just a ray of sunshine.
Yay!
Both of you. That makes me so happy. Well, confidence is a feeling, and it really depends on how we feel subconsciously, and that then translates in how we speak and we carry ourselves every day. And how do we build that up? Initially, you really build that up through physically being active. Maybe in order, if you're active physically, the subconscious will kind of catch up. So really, it's a mind situation. We have to work on our mind first, reality, but it doesn't always happen that way. So we really have to work on the other stuff first, and then the mind kind of catches up, hopefully, so that you can kind of find the middle. So every time you maybe do something for yourself, like do that workout or go for that walk or eat all your meals for the day, you kind of like adding to that subconscious that you can actually do it. And it kind of builds a strong foundation, a reframe of the negative you or the negative things that we can probably have told ourselves over the years. And that kind of builds a strong foundation. So basically, you have to make your mind over and over and over. And that's why my company is called Surrender Fitness, because you constantly have to surrender. That never stops. So the more you resist it, the more difficult it gets, because you're not surrendering, right? And everything in life is surrendering. So you will never arrive. That's one thing. And you got to focus on those small wins, mostly health related, I would say, and lifestyle changes that kind of overall make you a better person and healthier person, one that can really carry their family and be a good example. And you were talking about gym culture and social media. So everything that we see out there, not everything, but a lot of it makes it look like it's so easy, right? Even I get stuck sometimes and like comparing myself and seeing all these things that people are doing in the health and fitness industry. And I just have to stop myself because it really is, I'm going to burst your bubble. It's not so easy how they make it look, but it is simple. Okay. So that's the difference. It's simple. So we want to remember that it's simple and it needs intentional focus. And that's where us as Christians, we have strength because we can pray, and we can pray for enjoyment of our journey, even when it's difficult. So yeah, that's my thought on that.
perfectly said.
I
Okay.
was just gonna say that was
Yeah.
crisp and clean. That was incredible.
Oh man, Louisa, can you please help us just identify the lies the world tells us about our worth? Like, what is the biggest lie you see women believing in when they walk into your studio for the first time?
A lot of time, I think women believe that the number on the scale or their clothing size is the answer. But again, it's about the confidence that we have inside. And a lot of times it's an excuse, right? And that's like they're not advocating for themselves. So it's important for women. I think the most important thing I see mostly women. So I don't have a lot of men that I see. So I'm talking about women here. And yeah, we're talking about women here. So they make excuses. They don't have time, they have a family, they're a wife, they have a husband, yada, yada, yada. And they have a lot of overload, right? This is overload. So that what does that mean? It means that they probably have to, again, I'm inviting you to surrender here and really give yourself some time to step back and see what you can maybe let go of and simplify your life a little bit so that you can actually advocate for yourself and stop making those repeating excuses because that's not what God wants for us. And then, of course, everybody's journey is different. So everybody's schedule. And that's what I help people with kind of figuring out what is too much. Because a lot of times women come to me and they're like, all right, I'm going to do it all. And I'm like, no, you're not. You can't do it all. And you're not, you can't compare yourself to somebody else. You have to compare yourself to yourself and where you're right now. What can you do right now? What can you give to yourself right now without kind of burning yourself, burning both ends of the candle, basically.
I have yet to figure out how to surrender. I'm working real hard, I think, on it, but man, that is a struggle. I am having a hard one, especially in situations like I'm now dealing with an injury and dealing with I had all of these things, a process, and I had everything what I thought was a good flow between family and work and just relationships. It was all getting so neatly tied with a bow. So what I guess the pretty broad question is how do I stop myself from turning that into my tie to my worth is now I physically can't even due to this I don't know to the degree that is gym culture in my head. I've seen everyone doing what I'm supposed to be doing to stay healthy and to be healthy and to stay fit, and now I'm physically unable to do to that extent.
Mm.
How do I surrender to this? Help.
I can understand that. I mean, most of the times what happens is I get even my clients, right? They come in, they're setting everything up, and then as soon as they start, it's almost like Murphy's Law. Something happens and it all falls apart. This happened to one
Mhm.
of my clients just recently. We've done 2 cycles of 12 weeks, and both times she's had injuries. And she was not everybody has that mindset, but you have to have a growth mindset. And not a fixed mindset. So I'm trying to help people overcome that by asking questions. And by this is really the time for you right now to work on something else, the things that you can control. And what are the things that you control is your mind and all the other things around you. So maybe you can work on other things right now that you couldn't do before, maybe, right? I don't know, nutrition, gratitude, studying more, helping somebody else, and then realize that one day, this is not gonna be forever, right? One day your story will be able to encourage somebody else. And same with this client, she despite the fact that she had injuries, we were still able to like pivot. You always want to pivot somehow and still work on it moving forward because the road is not always straight, right? Sometimes you got roadblocks, you got accidents on the road, you have to stop.
Sure.
It's very inconvenient at times. You were delayed for a lot sometimes, but we don't stop, right? We always have the direction where we're going. And as long as you kind of can strengthen that, like this is the end goal, this is where I want to be. And right now, you're actually learning all the stuff around the injury that you have that you didn't know before. So that's a plus, right? Same thing happened to me a couple of years ago when I had back problems. I've learned so much and I was able to like meet new people that helped me, new PTs that are now friends. Now I'm helping other clients with the same injury. And this other client that I was talking about, she still lost a lot of weight just by doing nutrition and doing like the bare minimum. So, I know it helps the brain, but like there's always something that we can work on. So
Fact. I wanted to ask because I mean we're just talking about going through all the stuff in our homes and decluttering. I was looking at old scrapbooks and I know my feeling of like being in my dance uniforms or like do you name the activity I was at and just being self-conscious and like thinking I was the heaviest one of my friends group. 16-year-old me was so hypercritical of myself, of my beauty. Okay, so looking back at yourself, And especially now with the path life has gone on, what would you tell yourself, like, what does strength and beauty actually look like?
Well, I think if I'm listening to you, it seems like you were in a great place as a young person.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I look back and go, what was I thinking? Oh my God.
No, for me, it was like I was a chubby kid, believe it or not. I didn't feel self-confident, and I was called Miss Piggy, and it kind of was endearing to my family, but not endearing to me. So I always had like a problem with self-confidence, like that I've taken with me in my 30s, really. I've been working on it. And I think just recently, as I reached my 40s, I felt more like I'm tired of this. I'm just going to look at myself and I'm going to appreciate myself the way I am. Don't always like it, don't always love it, but you know what? That's just how it is, and it's supported me. So anyway, what I would tell myself is that you are enough. Wear those shorts, enjoy your life, and you're capable of more than you think you are, and you're strong. And yeah, that's it. Put in the work. If you put in the work, you can, get better at stuff. Like I used to be into dance too, into jazz dance, and I wasn't really good, and I felt really uncoordinated and heavy because I was like chubbier. But now I still have the desire to kind of learn dancing, and I'm thinking of getting back into some sort of dance. I'm not really good at it, but you know what? Now as an adult, I know I've reached other milestones, so I can just having fun with it, right? Why not?
Yes. But yeah, the adult dance classes too, that looking back and knowing like kids were mean because yeah, I was not fat in by any means. So yeah, it was the where I was. I go to the adult dance class though, and I'm like, it does not matter what anyone looks like here. We're all making fools of ourselves and having so much fun. And I just wish that was, I mean, especially as a kid, you're just supposed to be a kid and having fun.
Yeah.
And I mean, I say kid, I was a teen, but still, how
Well, I
great it
have
would have
the
felt to just enjoy it
I
then.
had the
Yeah.
other side of it. I was a beanpole, and it was like, "Oh my gosh, I haven't developed. I have nothing. I'm just a stick
Aw.
just floundering around." So, yes, definitely, I think all avenues is there was some type of thing that we hyper focused on, and we were very critical of ourselves. So I'm glad we were able to get past that part. I know it's
Right?
probably a different ball game now. We're
It
critical
is.
about something else. I'm not sure, Louisa, do you have a little girl, little
I
boy?
do
Because I
have a
know you're a
little
private
girl
mom.
girl. That's what I was thinking about right now. When she goes to gymnastics, it's completely different. Or she used to go to gymnastics. It's kind of different now. I don't think they allowed to put so much emphasis on it. Like social media has just changed things a little bit more. I don't know if it's like when it comes higher into being more professional, how they are, but at least where she was for the 5 years, there was girls that were like chubby and they were doing really good, and nobody says anything. I mean, they're like we're cheering them on,
Awesome.
So yeah, it's a little bit different these days, I think, and at least in this respect. Go ahead,
Before
you.
we jump to the next one, I'm curious about culturally, do you feel like that was it? That was part of it when you were young? Because I was just going to say my comment on it sounds very similar to what I am familiar with as the Hispanic culture too. That like I had to set the rules down pretty early with my husband, and he kind of not fought me on it, but didn't understand my hesitation towards gordo, flaco, like fat, skinny. These are nicknames. And
It's not
most
nice.
of the time said with love, but it's a cultural love. And they may think this is just the way we say it. And I've said, no, I don't want someone
Mhm.
immediately naming or nicknaming my son based on his physical qualities.
Mhm.
Handsome, I'll take.
Yeah.
Like, fine. But I mean, tiny. We do it. That was the Southern. If you called someone a big guy tiny, that's sarcastic. Like, you were still
Uh,
commenting on a body image, just in a. You're being sarcastic about it now. So I think it
yeah.
sounded like yours is a cultural naming as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, because it's the Greek and Italian culture and then living in Germany, but I was mostly influenced by Italian and Greek, and so it was never enough. Like if I was losing weight, then I was too thin, right? And then they would say, "What's happening? You're not eating, Force feed you." And then if you're too heavy, then it's like, "You gotta go on a diet, girl. What's happening?" You know?
Texas is a whole nother another globe in itself.
They would call you what you were. I don't
It's
think there
funny.
was any sugarcoating. It
There
was
was no.
very
It
honest.
didn't matter. It wasn't a cute naming though.
No,
No
well, I can
filter.
say in the Black culture, it can be they'll a compliment is very backhanded, right? They'll if you get a new car, "Oh, I see you in your little car," or, "Oh, I see you in your little boyfriend," little things like that. It's like, "Well, why is everything gotta be little? You see me in so and so," or so yeah, it's just different little things. So yeah, there's something in each culture I assume that they just nitpick at, and no one has just said, no, we're not doing it. So it just continues on. Okay, so Luisa, your business is called Surrender Fitness. That is such a powerful word. What are we actually surrendering when we work out? Is it the weight or is it the control?
It's mostly, I guess, a control situation, but really we're surrendering to the process of changing to things that didn't work before, things that don't serve you anymore, right? So you're really surrendering to a stronger and fitter self, and it's body and mind. And I like really to help people with debunking anything that's a fad diet or something that is like too good to be true, and help them to lift efficiently and honestly kind of not expecting things to happen right away, but really realizing that it is surrendering and it's a process, and you have to learn. And that's the people I really like to work with, people that are willing to kind of not just go through the motions, but actually like the process of it.
I think
I like that.
surrender to like to get out of your head is really an interesting way to think about it. Most of us have this old idea of what is fit or what is supposed to be the way that I'm eating, the way that I exercise. I think especially growing up South Miami, the the way or the things that you ate were pretty heavy and pretty heavily Hispanically influenced, and so rice and beans and pretty fatty meats and things that are absolutely delicious, but probably not necessarily on the right health spectrum. And I mean, growing up, you're supposed to follow that old school pyramid, which I know is supposed to be thrown out at this point. Like it's totally incorrect. So I'm having the hard time. Unlearning is probably a better way to define the word surrender for me.
Well, I would say that that's why it's personal, right? And like I like to teach my clients that it's all about the balance, and it's simple, but you have to put some work in. So I like to teach them about what's the most important thing that's going to give you the most change. And a lot of times it's not that you can't eat those things. I really like to not think that anything is bad or good, especially with food, because food is nostalgia too, and it's part of who we are, how we were raised. It elicits emotions. It brings people together. That's all important. But do you have to have it every day? No. If you're trying to reach a goal. So that's why I like to prescribe fitness too, is like when I talk to somebody, it's like, okay. And that's why I teach counting your calories or your macros or whatever, because you can fit things in. It's simple. That also requires you to kind of learn a little bit in the beginning. And it doesn't always happen with everybody right away. So it's like a process. Sometimes I just write things for people and I kind of give them an idea of what they could eat based on what they're already eating, because I don't want to change your life, right? I want you to be able to enjoy it. The most difficult part of surrendering is kind of leaning into that, right? Because it's like the person has to come to me and say, "Oh, I do want to learn," but sometimes people come to me and they're like, "I can't. I don't eat any vegetables," or "I can't do this and I can't do that," and I'm like, "Are you an adult or am I talking to like a little child?" Right? It's like you have to make some changes. Especially
Yeah.
if it's healthy for you, but I want you to also enjoy your foods, like, so we can do both.
As we talk about confidence and movement, it's so much easier to get active when you feel good in what you're wearing, and what you're wearing actually reflects your values.
That is why we are obsessed with Dripping in Jesus. If you're looking for athletic wear that is high quality, high performance, and carries a high calling message, this is it.
It's more than just a brand, it is a statement. Whether you're hitting the session at Surrender Fitness or you're just running errands with the kids, Drippin' in Jesus helps you represent the kingdom while you're on the move. Their gear is designed to fit real bodies and remind everyone who sees you, exactly who you are.
So head on over to drippinginjesus.com and use your clothing to share the gospel.
That's drippinginjesus.com. Get geared up and keep dripping in his grace.
Amen. All right. All right. So before we get into our TikTok, I want to talk about this Ozempic craze, right? There's quite a few people. It's kind of a touchy subject because I have friends that utilize it and it's very helpful. And then there's some people that may abuse it. So let's talk about it. Luisa, what is your perspective? I mean, I've seen everywhere on TikTok where it just feels like it's a pressure to be thin, and it shifted from hard work more to like a quick fix. You can go get BBLs. That's what Miami is known for. I remember like my first flight home after we moved to Miami, there was a row of females in wheelchairs to get on the flight, and they were here for their BBL. So help us. Like, how do we get from one mindset to another?
I think there's a time and a place for everything. And I like to inform, and I have clients that are taking it. So I like to inform them that it cannot be, that Ozempic cannot teach you a behavior, right? It's just a tool. So it's not going to teach you how to eat well, how to exercise, none of that stuff. So it doesn't really put the work in. And what does God tell us? God tells us working is good. So if you are taking it, I think it's good for people that are probably like pre-diabetic. And there's new studies now that show even like people that don't have that, just microdosing. And I don't know enough about it, but it's supposed to be good in some ways. I think also cognitively, but I'm not sure about that. But I would say it's a tool. And I like to inform the clients that it's important that they do all the other things first before they opt for this. And unfortunately, a lot of people just like the quick fix. And if they're doing it for that reason, I think it's not the best way of doing it, because a lot of times it's not going to stay, right? Once they get off it, they might gain the weight back, and then it's even more difficult to lose it. And that's pretty much a fact, because it has been shown that that's happening.
Name a diet trend that has happened in the last decade, and they all are exactly the same. Like, sounds great, it works great for this amount of time, and then as soon as you stop, as soon as you haven't learned something from that tool, you're just going to go back right to
it can be very helpful. It can be very helpful for people that are severely obese or pre-diabetic or have issues and have a really hard time with it, but they have to be honest with themselves, right? It's like somebody that has anxiety and is put on medication but doesn't go through therapy, right? When you get medication, it's because you also want to work with somebody together so that you can handle your emotions better. Same thing with Ozempic. It's a tool, and you want to use it with all the other things, and then it really kind of works for you, because it does. I mean, the newer Ozempic ones, they're even better apparently, but the old ones, they really affect your digestion and all that stuff. So that's affected too. So if you're already not eating a lot, or you're not eating enough fiber, so things are not moving, and it's not necessarily all good, but it can be good. But there's a lot of things to consider.
Perfect. All right, so we got to get into TikTok. So are you ready? Here we go.
Yeah.
Something that I've realized recently when it comes to body image in Christians is that a lot of people will struggle with their body image because there's almost like this guilt they have around wanting to look better, right? If you are really deep into your journey with God, right, there's almost this belief that can come up that you shouldn't desire to get super lean or add muscle because you should just feel worthy as you are, right? God made you this way, and you should be grateful for the body you have and grateful for everything that it's done. And so you create this guilt and almost shame for wanting to look better and wanting more for yourself physically. And this doesn't help, because our world as a whole and the illusion of it is also very much on that same thought process in terms of demonizing people that want to take their health and their physique seriously, that have these surface level desires because they're called vain or egotistical or surface level or obsessed with their self, like that's a bad thing. So you're constantly conflicted. Yeah, there's just this incongruence between what you actually desire and what you think you should desire. And this only adds to more and more body image challenges. But this is my take on it. For someone that suffered with body dysmorphia for over 15 years, right? So I fully understand this. There is no shame, no guilt needed to have physical desires. God has given you a body to steward. He doesn't need you to sit in this unhealthy body that's overweight, that makes you feel, that has you lacking confidence, that has you always fearing judgment, that has you not walking in the world with presence and with pride. You have a body to steward. And the fact that you have these surface level desires is completely okay. But the other piece to this is that, and why you probably haven't been able to be successful in the first place, is because the goals and desires you have for your body, for your confidence, they go completely against who you've known yourself to be for so long, right? Because people with body image challenges have generally had them for a long time. And so you created this whole narrative, this whole story, this whole self-image that is based around you not loving your body, you not being confident, you not fitting into the world, right? And so those desires and goals you have, not only have you convinced yourself that you shouldn't want them, but you've also convinced yourself that they are not part of who you are. And so you continue to push them away. You continue to stay as you are, because that's what's safe and comfortable. And this is all the stories and stuff that I unpack within my mentoring. But if you take one message away from this, you're allowed to have surface level desires. You're allowed to want more for your body. In fact, God has given it to you to steward, right? When you understand that, when you learn how to change that negative story that is holding you back, and you actually commit to becoming a better version of yourself physically, it's when all this dissolves. Keep going. It's okay. You're not vain. Get after it.
So what did you guys think of that TikTok?
I thought it was really good. And it's something that obviously probably a lot of us, especially for Christians, we are thinking about. Are we selfish, right? I've thought that too when I was competing. Am I putting so much time into this and not into my family, not into like other interests? And that's very personal again. And it's something that a person needs to prayerfully consider. And is very tied in with contentment, I think. And contentment, how do you get that? By practicing gratitude. And usually a grateful heart is more content. So we want to really work on giving the best, but also working on being content, because we don't want to be slobs and we don't want to be lazy, because God doesn't like that, but we also don't want to go to the other extreme. Just it's a very thin line, and it's like a balance, and we constantly again probably have to surrender in a way or another, and accepting different phases, realizing that sometimes, let's say somebody like you had a baby, maybe now is a phase where I slowly have to get myself back into working out, but then I have an accident, so I have to like slow down again. So, you can't be too critical with yourself. You have to be content, and you have to be accepting of every phase in your life. But it's also important and it's okay to want better for yourself, because you want to really have a strong body and a strong mind, because this is how we can serve God best.
I think the big one that I got out of is remembering that it was a temple given to you. Like that you can also be okay. You need to be okay with taking care of this temple, and that's not being selfish. This was given to you, because if it's not functioning, if this is not at its peak, you can't also give out and give to others and do God has asked you if you are not physically okay and not taken care of. Which again, currently in the season where I'm feeling like I'm half able to do anything because I'm physically limited. Okay, hold on. This is just the season that I need to take care of my temple, and this is what I'm supposed to be doing right now, and I need to slow down and do that. And it's not selfish, or it's okay to take it easy and take a second and take care of myself and my body. I'm not taking away from anything else or being selfish because I'm taking care of me.
How do we balance the medical advancements with the spiritual need to be content?
Well, it's important to kind of, I like to teach like the middle, right? You don't want to go to either extreme. You want to just find they call it in therapy, wise mind. You want to find the middle where you can be content. And like I said before, gratitude is like an anchor. When you are grateful, you are also content, and you're able to make wise decisions based on your needs at the specific time, without having to necessarily have to do the latest thing, or also maybe questioning, is this actually good for me just because everybody else is doing it? Or do I need to take Ozempic, or do I need to have the latest vitamin pill, or do I have to go to the gym 5 times a week? Do I have to try this new class? Does this benefit me? Or is it better if I just slow down and do something at home for 30 minutes, because that way I have more time for something else? As long as I do something that benefits or puts me forward in my goal, I think that's the most important thing, finding the middle and working on that learning mindset. What am I learning from this, from every experience?
All right.
Pretty intense, but honestly, I hope that the minimum understanding of your motto should be taken by everyone, whether or not they're working with you in the business or not. I'm learning and growing and coming up with the new me, the new body, especially postpartum, and what comes with all that chaos. Like, to understand that it's okay in due time. This is the season to surrender to Him. I need to do some more of it. Thank you, Louisa, for everything today, and for giving us some very good words of wisdom. I think we are a masterpiece in progress, 1,000%.
Yeah.
The Creator does not make mistakes, and He certainly didn't make any mistakes making you.
Like you said, I still have to constantly remind myself to surrender. I have it tattooed on my arm, and it's not enough, so
Uh-huh.
have to look at it all the time.
A good reminder. I just want to say, guys, please don't let the mirror steal your joy and of life. So just just live. That's all you need to do. And again, Louisa, thank you so much for being our guide today. And everyone,
Thank you.
please check her out at surrenderfitness.com.
Next week, we are lightening things up for our perfect day, and we're dreaming a little, laughing a whole lot, and talking about what a day without the wall, what it looks like.
Amen. Well, thank you again. Follow us on all socials and have a blessed week, guys. We'll see you next Wednesday. Bye.
Another day, another walk, keeping faith in the stride. No matter where the avenue goes, he's the one to always provide. From the dirt to the grace, you gotta keep the faith. Trust the spirit and the truth. Yeah. Because God will never lose. See you next time. We got a way you do it. Yeah, you did it. Yeah, you did it. When the road got rock, you pulled up to it. You always do it. Yeah, you did it. Yeah, we got a way you do it. Yeah. It's on a different by avenue.